Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us for the Homes and Money Realtor Mastermind. Today is our fourth time together, and I have a longtime friend of mine and a good guest for us today, Tyler Minges. Tyler is with Huff Realty, and he's, I think, been in real estate as long as I've known him, which goes back probably 15 years-ish. And Tyler, thanks for joining us.
Yep. Thank you, Robert.
Yep. Tyler has kind of an awesome story. And so I wanted to get him on here and, let everybody kind of hear it and then draw some parallels. He also brings kind of a different element to us in that Tyler has done a lot more suburban and kind of suburbs real estate, and even maybe kind of borderline rural. I'll let him kind of talk to that. So, it's good to mix it up and get some different perspectives with all of the agents that we have on here. I think we've done a really good job of kind of having a wide variety of people. And so Tyler, how long have you been in real estate?
I got into it in 2007. I had previously played baseball, professional baseball, years with Indians, Cardinals, and Red Sox, and had an offer to go with the Dodgers to AA and maybe AAA. I couldn't really tell where after spring training and such. And I know it sounds crazy. I'm 42 now and at 27 years old. When your body is hurting, I had 4 or 5 elbow surgeries, a shoulder surgery, 3 knee surgeries, and it was probably the writing on the wall that said, it's time. And so I decided to turn down the offer with the Dodgers. I actually went to my accountant, Gunigundo and Gunigundo in Fairfield, has been a long time client of, or our CPA since I was born. It's my dad since 1973, I believe. And I knew I wanted to get into real estate, but I didn't know how, where to start, what avenue, commercial, building, owning, whatever. So I went to him and said, Bill, I want to get into real estate. What direction should I go? And he, without hesitation, he said, you need to go with Tom Hamilton at Huff Realty. And at that moment, I kind of talked to the bigger companies in town. I knew agents growing up. So I talked to some of them, and none of them really stood out to me at that point. And Tom, who just retired on Friday. So he ended up retiring this past Friday. And he said, go with Tom. He'll take you under his wing. And I didn't really know at the time kind of why, but I think Bill saw a bigger picture for me. He knew I thought kind of bigger picture. Well, I did know it at the time, but Tom Hamilton was more the main reason why Huff Realty came across the river. He was a Coldwell Banker agent for many, many years at the time. I think I guess it had been the 90s at that point. And he went to go with Jim Huff and said, Jim, I want to open a bunch of branches in Ohio. And they worked out a really sweet deal. And I think at the time they poached like almost 100 agents when they came over. I didn't know this till a lot later, but I think that was his vision, is Tyler, you go there. He does commercial real estate. He opened offices. He opened a brokerage. He'll give you a lot of avenues and you can go which one that works out. So
awesome.
So far it worked out.
Yeah, you grew up in Ross, and you didn't really know Tom before that, right?
Nope.
And then did Tom become your mentor, so to speak, and so you kind of attached on to him and how to learn and quickly grow as an agent?
Yeah. So when he said that, and he said it so quickly because he represents a lot of agents through his CPA, that meant a lot because he's done my dad's businesses forever. And when he had said it so quickly and so affirmative, he was just like, you need to go here. I said, well, I'll go talk to him. And so Tom was I would say a mentor, but more of a guide. Um, if I worked for somebody, I would fire them or something. So he knew that no one was going to hold me back or tell me what to do, and I'm just going to go and do what I'm going to do and run. And don't let there's no ceiling out there for me. I want to run until I go, that's not going to work, and I'll go do something else. And so Tom didn't. He more guided me. He got me my resources to. I own a lot of farms. I don't have a lot of rentals because I won't deal with the tenants. He had dealt with tenants. I got that experience from him, saying, what that experience was with rentals, and that was not for me. Bruce Eibold, who he ended up passing away just recently, he was kind of a mentor for me getting into the residential sales side of things. But Tom introduced me to Bruce.
Okay.
Tom, he made special meetings set up for me and Jim Huff. So Tom has the contacts that are out of this world. So he would find what he thought would be the best person, and he would set me up with him. And that's kind of how I got my experience or vision, is really from other people, which is why I like doing these interviews. I'm here to share my story. I stole all my stuff from other people and I built my own.
Sure.
That's so I always say I volunteer. I do these often for our sister companies, even Louisville, Lexington. And I don't ask anything back. When I played baseball, you're 18 years old, you're drafted, you're meeting these professional baseball players that used to collect their baseball cards. And here you're in the same locker room as them.
Sure.
And like Dave Justice took me under his wing. He lived here in Cincinnati for some time. So he took me under his wing and showed me the ropes and protected me, bought my meals when you're broke. So I've kind of tried to take that baseball mentality into real estate and share. I'm here to share what got me here and steal my ideas. I stole everyone else's ideas and you try to make it your own.
Sure. So it's kind of a unique path that we've been down, and we haven't kind of gone down this and our other masterminds, but how often did you find yourself meeting with those mentors and kind of running your goals and your vision past them? And then how did they kind of help you along that?
Starting out, it was every few weeks I would come into Tom's office starting out twice a day. I mean, it was, you don't know what you don't know. So when you start out, you're scared you're going to make a mistake. You have no clue what you're doing, but you have to fake it until you make it.
Sure.
And when you make it, you kind of have to keep faking it, really.
Sure.
And that's really all it is. If you believe in something, you reassure that that's the correct thing with your mentor or your manager or someone you truly trust. But for me, I try to let my mind figure it out and then get reassurance from someone with experience, or at least their opinion. And sometimes you ask them and you're like, all right, that's not, I'm not going to do that. Like they come up with an idea and you're like, no, that's not for me.
Yeah.
But it reassures your idea and then you move forward with it. So I don't do this myself. It's so much experience from other people because you only learn when you make mistakes.
Right.
Can't be
right. And so how long into your career did it take you to where you started to want to build a team?
I would say when I couldn't breathe with doing my own business. And I think I got up to 81 deals, I think is what I got to before I end up getting an assistant.
Okay.
So I was doing, I was, not single. I'd met my wife. We'd newly married, but no children. She has her own business. I had mine, and I was just a gangbuster, just run. So working is it's more of a hobby for me than it's like work. So I think I got to 81 deals and I said, I have to get an assistant. And the big teams and stuff, they just weren't popular at the time. The world had gone to heck. That no one was even, there was a lot of agents out of the business, and my business continued to grow. And I got in business in 07. It got better and bigger and bigger, bigger and bigger. I mean, almost every year to this date. Maybe a few more or a few less deals this past year, but more volume. So I think I got to an assistant. It was probably my third year, maybe somewhere in there. And then once I got an assistant, it was the second year after that, I think, is when I got my first buyer's agent.
Okay.
And I've never ran with more than one buyer's agent at the moment. At the moment, I still have one buyer's agent. So I'd say I have a well-oiled machine. The work I'm not scared of. It doesn't overly consume me, so we try to manage it. Some people have 10, 12, 14, 16 people. I see a lot of turnover with that, and I'm not into high turnover personally. So I have a different business model than some agents out there.
Sure. So your first person, the assistant, was more of a details person for you, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So I did not want my assistant to be licensed.
Okay.
I did not want them to be licensed. The reason is because I want them to not want to have any part of what I do. I want them to do everything opposite, or want to do everything opposite that I do. I don't want them to want to go meet people and to go show how. I don't want that. I want them to do detail, the motherly, that motherly care for the office, make sure all the details are there, the files are ready, that my clients are taken care of and like literally coddled to, and make sure they're taking it. That's the important part. So my job is to go shake trees, get business, shake hands, list property, sell properties, and then get to closing. And they take care of all the detail work. It's kind of how that I kind of handle it.
And was that a realization for you of, maybe strengths that you had and things that you were okay at, but that you didn't enjoy doing, like the detail piece of it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It was time consuming, the measuring the rooms, the paperwork, the digital signatures, the prepping the paperwork for the listing, the printing out, waiting on the printer to print. I gotta go. Like I have to. So it's all of that, creating the marketing pieces, creating my sellers manuals, creating my checklists for my sellers for pictures, prepping pictures, my closings, all the instruction manuals that I give my clients. I can't do that. I gotta go. Go.
Right.
So that's the part that they do. And then of course my marketing team, they put all of our ideas condensed into beautiful stuff. That's the big thing.
So we kind of talked before this call or this meeting, and I think you kind of have a very unique vision. Would you share your vision with us and like what your goals are for kind of where you're headed?
So it's kind of interesting. I think I bring my baseball sports background. Obviously, you played lots of sports. Our sons play baseball together and against each other. And the thing that I don't have, and people think that I'm they're shocked when they hear this every single time, is when I get asked, what are your goals? What's your goals this year? And this has been since I was a little kid. I've never had a goal of a number to hit, from a batting average to hit to strikeouts. There's so many factors you can't control that could manipulate the end result, and then you're a failure because you, in a sense, lined out 20 times in a game, through your games. You might bat 300, you want to bat 400. If you lined out all that, those are great at bats.
Right.
Or so as a pitcher, you could have lost a lot of games, 1-0, and had a wonderful year. So I've never had a goal. Matter of fact, my dad, when I started playing up, I played 2 years up. I was 16, my brother was 18. and I was batting third. And after 2 or 3 games, the older kids were getting mad because this new young kid, Tyler Minges, was out there hitting. I think I was hitting 900 after 3, 4, 5 games. So they were making printouts every game for the averages. Well, they stopped doing it because the older kids are mad because this young little whippersnapper's in there doing well. And then they all got worried and they all started pressure. So they quit showing them. And I did not know the whole year what I hit. They didn't show any stats. It was the best thing because we started doing really, really good after that. Everybody just went out and played. And at the end of the year, I think I batted 472. And it was led the league or whatever it was at the time. And I didn't know until the end of the year. And I realized you can only control so much. And so my goals, I get up every single day and go to work. That's my goal. Get up every day and go to work and be consistent. And other than that, the money, the deals, that'll take care of itself. I live very modestly in terms of I don't have boats and vacation homes. I have lots of farms. We buy dirt. I'm a land hoarder, but I have very few bills. So I get up, I don't have a lot of pressure. I just go. That's my goal. That's it. I take care of my assistant. I take care of my buyer's agent. I'm overly protective of them in terms of making sure they have plenty of business. They get bonuses. Any gift cards I give to them. I give way more than I should, but that makes me feel good. So to me, get up, go to work. That's my goal. At the end of the year, I make X amount of dollars. I close X amount of deals, and it is what it is. I don't really have other goals in terms of that because I don't, if the economy takes a crap and then you don't have control of that. So am I a failure because I closed 25 less deals than I wanted to? I don't think that's a good thing. Now, maybe it's a vision or something people use, but I think they would get caught up and then you start getting down on yourself and then there's pressure so I avoid that. That's
Sure.
for me.
Sure.
I think some people need goals to stay on track, to stay consistent, but I'm going from daylight to dark every day. So,
yeah. So where does most of your business come from?
I would say probably 90% is referral. I would say probably 90% is referral. 10% is just captured from calls and turning just random leads into new business. I would say it's probably about there. And I think last year we did almost 197 deals, I think last year, but we just go.
So what does prospecting look like for you, and even maybe expand a little bit on kind of nurturing your database, your past clients? What does that look like for you?
Every client we've ever closed is in our database.
Okay.
There is a small email campaign to them. We see a very low open rate on those. So it's, but what I do see there is at least they're at least seeing it and they see Tyler Minges Real Estate Group. Whether they open it, it's okay. It's just a refresher. It's more of a reminder I'm reaching out to them. Mm-hmm. So to me, they don't open it very often, but they are seeing me reaching them. It's just a reminder. Social media is pretty big. My assistant, she's 20, she's very in tune with the social media and reaching folks that way through flyers, digital flyers and such, instant direct messaging. And then lots of donations to sports programs. Lots, like probably everyone that my son, daughter is in. She's 6 and he's 9. We donate a lot to other kids on the teams, their programs, our school. Lots of money goes into the schools and their little programs. So I'm trying to go after warm leads, meaning people that recognize the kids' names and they can. So that's what I go after, is more No cold calling ever in my career. I've ever cold called of any sorts. I'd never gone up a cold lead. It's more of a, hey, you need to reach out to my aunt because she needs to sell her house. She's waiting your call. That's where my low hanging fruit it is. Hey, Tyler, they need to sell their house. They want you to meet them on Thursday. Can you go? Yep, I'll be there.
Nice. Lots
Yeah.
of community involvement. And I've seen that from you. Yeah. Okay. So, is there a difference? Because, and again, we've talked about the fact that most of your business is in the suburbs. You even kind of joked and said, I don't do a lot of city deals, but in the suburbs and even kind of rural, is that a different process, different client for than maybe to other people? Is that buyer or seller looking for something different, in your opinion?
Um, I definitely think there's a completely different client from city versus suburb, country, and you can feel it when you walk in because you walk. Now, I wear hats, I have logos, everything. I will wear a sport coat, but I typically wear jeans if I'm going into what I would call a city atmosphere.
Sure.
I don't wear a hat. But I'll wear a sport coat and collar, and dress shoes and stuff. But you meet with them and they're typically they're white collar. They got ties, suits and such, and they are looking for they want data. They want what's your results. It's almost like a keeping up with the Joneses type presentation to them. You have to pump them of your success, where in the country, they want to see you in a flannel sometimes. They would rather, you be in work boots. They want to hug you when you leave. So it is a completely different clientele from what I call the city, because they're in like the cool things, where the country, it's slower. They trust you. You can literally work with a handshake. You can write a contract on a napkin and they're going to adhere to it. Where the city it's a different clientele.
Sure. So do you do, so I think the biggest takeaway on that is that you have to know your client and your market. So when you're preparing for, a conversation with a referred buyer or even a listing appointment, do you try to do a little background knowledge on who the client is? And if so, how do you, what kind of method do you use for that? Like to try to find out what they do? Because you don't know if you're going out into Ross and ended up meeting with a P&G exec, right? So like you've got to, try to know the background.
So because a majority of my clients are second generation to somebody that I know, I get the story typically from that referral. That's the easy part. That's the best, because it's my grandmother. She's my godmother. It's you get the whole story because they're helping them. And when somebody refers you, they don't typically refer them because of me. They're referring me because they want to help their friend or their family member. It's not like, oh my gosh, Tyler needs the business, so they know that they're reaching out to the person. They're saying, you need to use Tyler. And the reason I think they do it, it's kind of like if you have a good painter at your house. You tell everybody that you need to use my painter, Jim, because Jim paints perfect lines. He's reasonable. He'll lock your house when you leave. You can trust him. He's not going to take any change off the countertop. So you share Jim's information because you're helping your friend. If you look at that, if you like your kid's doctor, you always want to tell everybody about your kid's doctor because they're so wonderful and they're nurturing and they're funny and they give them little toys and they make jokes. You share your doctor's information because you want to help your friend experience that same situation that they went through.
Yep.
So that's what I try to look at my business vision wise through the other lens. Like, why did they refer me? Yep. Well, they referred me because I sold their property. I took care of them. I explained the situation. They knew what they were getting. They got the best price possible. They knew it was at the time. We got it through smooth or rough closing, whatever, depends on how it goes. There's lots of rough ones out there. So when you get it closed, they go, Tyler took care of me. And if they hear, they go, you need to use Tyler because he's going to take care of you. That's really where my business has gone. That's what I concentrate on. I do zero lead generation. I don't buy any leads, no Zillow, no realtor.com, no Facebook target. I don't do any of it. I never have. And I think it's a brick and mortar type business rather than trending. It doesn't trend. It's just consistent. And I'm okay not closing 300 deals. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I close 100 deals. I'm okay with that. But I think it stays really consistent. And now I'm not prospecting. It's they're prospecting for me.
Sure.
And the next person, they're prospecting 10 more people. And so that's kind of really how I built my business. And my dad built his drywall business that same way. He's never advertised, but people call him from all over the region because they took care of another deal, a job somewhere.
Sure. So, the relationship piece is big to you, to make sure that when someone says Tyler's going to take care of you, that you can do that. What does post-closing follow-up look like for you and your team?
So typically I try to always attend the closing. Handshakes and hugs, all about them. My assistant will, if I have a double closing, my assistant will sometimes go. We try with COVID, it was a little bit different, not showing up. And now some clients will say, listen, I know you're busy, go get more business. Don't go to closing. Now I know they're looking out for me, so maybe I won't attend if it's a separate closing or something. About a month after is a handwritten letter for most all closings. If they're moving out of state, sometimes we won't. There's situations where we don't, if it's a court ordered sale or something, obviously. But usually handwritten letters are our main thing.
Okay, hold on. This is just agents on this call, Tyler. Are you writing that letter, or is your team helping and you're signing it? There's no right or wrong answer.
Oh, yeah,
just
yeah.
Curious.
Typically my assistant is writing those letters.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. I would tell the public that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's typically my assistant writing those letters. I can't believe it's been 1 month already. Time is flying. We also put them in, it's called Market Watch, adding them into a portal. You can probably do it through MLS as well, but MLS is not, you can do it quarterly, semi-annual, annual. So we can do searches and set our clients up. So they get updates on their neighborhood or whatever search that we put out there for them. Again, that's my assistants. That's what they do. I don't have time to go and set that up. But when you move into your house, it's exciting the first few weeks. They're not going to think of you. If you reach out, they're expecting you to reach out.
Sure.
I like to reach out to them when they do not expect me to. So I'm the opposite. Well, handwrite a letter congratulating the day of the sale. Well, they don't. That's not a lot lasting memory to them. A month in, the dust has settled. Life's getting real. The new car smell's worn off. Now we're reaching out, saying we're thinking of them. 1 year anniversary, same thing. Amazing. It's been a year. Yep. Oh my God. Did you see, I saw you got a new neighbor at such and such. If they have a new baby, buying a box of diapers and dropping them off.
Nice.
Something that is it's not a bottle of wine. It's not flowers.
Yeah.
To me, that's typical. I want to do something that's more lasting memory and different. They're going to remember that and go, wow, that was unexpected. I don't want to do something that everybody else is doing. So I want to be different, and that's going to separate me from all the other agents out there.
Well, and I think you said, just going back to one of the things that you said about the referral piece is that people say Tyler will take care of this. Like buying a box of diapers for somebody is taking care of them, right? Like it's not a frivolous gift. It's something that's going to be used, and it's a thoughtful gift of need, right? So that's really good. Okay. I have one last question, and then I want to open it up to the people that are on here to ask a question. So if you guys have it ready or whatever, Tyler, what piece of advice would you give? I mean, this is primarily a top producer call. Most of the people on this call are in the top 150 in the city or the tri-state area. But what advice would you give? You've been, like you said, since 2007, you and I have been in this business. We've seen these cycles, these ups and downs, and these really, what I like to call different, not difficult, but different markets. What advice, other than sun up to sundown, the farmer mentality, but what advice would you give in succeeding in this difficult market?
I'm going to try to find that answer through talking through it here. So what I am seeing right now is we're coming out of a couple years that literally we've been so busy that we don't have time to use the bathroom. So none of those letters were written. None of the follow-up were written, was done. None of the detail stuff that got you that business wasn't done. It wasn't done for 2 years. I see it all the time in my office. That's why I say it. Now, we slack sometimes because when we have 15 to 18, 20 deals in a month, it's really, really hard to find some time to run a report and run those sales and try to follow up. We slack on those things. So to me, I would say the things that we slack on are the things that produce. It's like, go back to the basics. I don't call it the basics. I call it's the absolute necessary items that produces the business that produces over and over and over. And that's attention to your clients, as many individual touches to as many people as possible. And I say your closest, if you can really, your closest 100 to 150 people. You don't need a database of 6, 8, 900, 1,000, 1,200, 100 to 150 people. They're the ones that are going to refer you. If they only do one deal a year, look how many deals you have.
Sure.
So I think a lot of agents, because I teach a lot of our agents here in our company and sister companies, same thing is they have 500, 700, 800 names. Well, 600 is useless time. They'll never give them one bit of business. They don't care about them. They're selfish people. We eliminate those people from our direct contact and effort. So we're, let's just call him Bobby. I don't know Bobby, but let's just call it Bobby. Bobby's a selfish guy. I know I sold him a house, but Bobby would never talk to many people. Bobby's never going to refer me, and Bobby's going to die in his house. I'm not going to concentrate on Bobby.
Right.
I'm not doing that, but I am concentrating on the people who are in the community, socialize all the time. I mean, they're the ones that want to be in the know at the party. They're the one talking to everybody. That's the people who I'm concentrating on, because they're your prospecting. It's not me prospecting. I'm prospecting them, and then they're prospecting for me, and they can touch 30, 40, 50 people.
Nice.
So that, I think, is, if we concentrated on that, identifying who, if it's 20 people, if it's 30 people, if it's 10 people, they are the people that, if it's a city official, pump them up, drop a card off, say hi, to go to lunch, talk, reach out about their kids, something, so they feel that you are thinking about them more than anything. They are going to do the same if you work them correctly, because they're the ones, and it's not me. Now they're the ones saying, you need to call Tyler. You need to call Tyler.
Right.
So I think that's a thing that people don't do very often, which we try our best to do. I think that's where our business comes from. And people are like, well, I got to get in and I got to run a flyer. Those flyers don't work. I've tried them, put them in neighborhood. They don't work. Now, if you do if you're up to 20 on the 20th flyer, 25th flyer, if you're so consistent for years and years and years, you can get in a neighborhood and own it.
Sure.
To me, I'd rather concentrate. So somebody's pumping all over the city or all over Cincinnati or all over a township, or rather than one specific neighborhood.
Nice.
I think that may be what people are missing out on a lot, but I think the top agents would know how to do it, where the new agents, they wouldn't know how to work those people. And it's handshakes. It's really just handshakes. It's not buying them diapers. It's handshakes, thinking about them. Hey, I just drove by your house. I saw that you got a new camper. You guys are going camping. Hey, I'm getting ready to walk into an appointment. Good luck. Enjoy the camping this weekend. I'll catch up here in a couple of weeks. It's 30-second phone call. That's what makes a difference, I think. Or at least that's what I'm sticking with, because it seems to be working.
That's good. That's good. Okay. Anybody have a question for Tyler?
Oh, I answered all their questions. There's no chance.
Here, I'll give you a question. This is Miranda. So I'm kind of like you. I don't like to set like goals and have that extra added pressure or whatever. But definitely being a team lead, I think some of my people do need to set goals. But I also don't want to put that pressure on them if that is not necessarily something that's going to drive them. So how do you say that you would put in place, or do you have like a track and measure? Like, I'm going to send out so many cards, or I'm going to do something else like in that regard versus actual like production or a number or volume or transaction, that type thing?
Great question. I've created like a little bit of I won't call it a written manual, but a back to basics type thing that I've given, and I'd have to even get it back from her. For mine is, if you don't have anything going on that day, start with this. And I think I've put like 5 or 10 things for her to concentrate on, because I only have one buyer's agent. Now she does a lot of deals, so she's busy. I think she did 50 deals or something, 45, 50 deals last year or so. So she is busy, but I say, if there's, you think, oh my gosh, I don't have anything going on, revert back to, if their main thing is Facebook, if their main thing is Twitter, if their main thing is Instagram, wherever their biggest following is, find some feeds and write a handwritten letter to that person. Congrats on the new baby. Like, they're giving you their life story on publicly. They're giving it to you. It's free. It's like the cheat sheet. I learned this from a guy out in Denver, Colorado. Is he used to push flyers out with his one assistant. He actually hired a second assistant to troll all of the social media platforms to push handwritten, life-related letters, handwritten letters to him. And the guy makes $3 million a year. He does, like, it's something stupid. It was like he does $184 million or something in sales, but he like doubled his production by, instead of texting people, he was literally reverse prospecting on social media for life-changing events, death, marriage, babies, championships in sports. Those little things is what he started getting a huge return, because now he's connecting that person with a really personal level. When somebody likes you, they're going to use you. So he knew that he's now targeting these folks not in a salesy way. I'm not salesy. I don't think you, it sounds like you're not either, because you don't want to do calls and all that. It's weird. It's just, there's a system to it, and I'm just not good at it. I could probably do it, but I don't like that. That's not me. So you want that warm invitation, is maybe create a bullet point of 5 items. The number one is 5 letters a day. I mean, that's a lot. They won't do it, but maybe 5 letters a day. and it's 42 cents a piece. It's 5 minutes a piece. It's not long to do. It's just, will they do it? And typically they don't have the business, they won't do it.
Sure.
But if they, so I would think that would be their first easiest thing, because they can then do what they're comfortable with, trolling social media. And then they can write some letters. Maybe it's dropping off diapers. I don't like gift cards. They're cheap and easy.
Mhm.
I like an actual meaningful, thoughtful gift. My wife is wonderful at it. I'm not good at all. So I ask her all the time, what should I get this person? So I think that would be really good for them, just to get into a routine. And then they're going to blossom into a lot of other items or other ideas, starting at the basic. And so that's a little reverse thinking. If she can troll, go ahead and troll. Don't direct message them. Send them a handwritten letter. And death is one, sympathy cards. Not, hey, condolences to your family, I'm praying for you. There's 700 of those in that feed. Actually get their address, maybe even send it, to other family members of them. They can get 3 or 4 of the cards. Doesn't even have to be a sympathy card. You can have a blank card that says Huff Realty on it, and just say, so sorry for your loss. I'm thinking of you. I remember, your father, and he always made all the kids so wonderful, and happy. Something like that. They're gonna remember that.
Yep.
That's the connection that's really hard to get if they're friends and agent, but you can get and break that bond, and they're going to think of you before their friend who's an agent who does it part-time. Does that make sense, Miranda?
Yep. Makes sense. One more follow-up question.
Sure.
Since he had said, hey, what are you doing this year different or whatever? What are you going to do to combat the new market? Are you adding anything different to your business plan for this year? Or are you just kind of getting back to the basics of kind of what you've not had time to do?
We don't lack a ton on our basics. So I think I think everyone, I'm going to try to stay ahead of the curve here, is the data before it's, hey, Susie would list this property for 300. And I'm like, well, the comps, are showing 285. Of course, Susie takes the listing for 300 and it sells for 320. And you're like, what the fuck? So now I think I'm ahead of that. I got data now that shows the number of showings. So I'm going to use our number of showings and show what it is now. And I'm using data and like the market, the amount of buyers that are in the market now, and say, we can't overprice it. It's literally done a U-turn and pry from overpricing a property. So I'm using extra data to combat them. Hey, I want to price it too high. Guys, that ship sailed, and it sailed really 2 months ago. And so I'm really pulling out extra data and educating on them. Do not price it too high, because then we're going to chase it. And I said, I went through this in 2007, 8, 9, and 10, and 11. You chase the market. So it went down 2%, you'd reduce 1. Or it went down 3%, you reduced 1. You kept chasing the market. It was fun. Don't chase it. Sell it. We're capturing the market today. It's not going to get any better. The rates are going up. So I'm using the rate, the pricing of interest rates. What was a house? What's the payment? If you show them that, it'll scare the living shit out of them and go, you're right. That's not good. I mean, from a 2.8 or 3% interest rate versus 7% interest rate, just show them on their house the cost monthly payment. And then you go, do you think the market's going up or down? I just ask them the question. They're going to answer the question. They're like, well, it can't go up. Exactly. So do you want to chase the market, or do you want to sell now, price it right, and get out of here? So I'm using more data this year instead of necessarily more basics. The thing that I am going to whip myself into shape on is, if I think I should do it, I should do it. Don't wait. That's my concentration is, should I call Billy? Well, I'll call him tomorrow. Like I create lists and they're everywhere. Call Billy or whatever. I'm just making up a name, but I don't want to wait till tomorrow. So my goal this year is do my tasks when they come to my mind, do it then, and don't say, I'm going to do it in an hour. And then you forget.
Yep. Yep.
So I think me is using more data to educate my clients, because before you didn't need data, you didn't need squat. I brought it all, but they didn't need it. And now I'm going to use a lot more numbers, data to educate my clients and say, no, this is where the market's going. And then now you're the market, like you're the source of information for the market.
Nice. Great questions, Miranda.
Thank
Great
you.
questions.
Thanks.
Any other questions from Lindsay or Mike?
So I do have a question, Tyler. It's Lindsay Spears. How are you?
Yes, good.
So you talked a lot about, relationships and things like that with your clients. And you said some things about, the last 2 years, how we've all kind of been so busy at times we can't see straight. Do you see one thing that I've always slacked on that I'm not necessarily proud of, but do you see a big importance with building relationships with outside agents and things like that outside of your brokerage? And what have you done? Because I know I'm also not your standard salesperson. So, a lot of times when outside agents or brokers or whoever contact me, I'm automatically like, okay, what are they, so what have you done, and do you see the importance in that?
I try to get along with everyone because we need each other. I'll call out an agent when I have to. If they're doing some shady shit, I had to do it last week. And it's not fun, but when you catch them doing some shady shit, you call them out. They'll respect you for it. They may not like you the rest of your career. That's okay, but they'll respect you and get the deal done. I want to get along with everybody because I want to get the closings. Our deals are typically, even with you, they're typically pretty smooth. My deals want to get to the table. We did one last year on Jennifer Drive. Robert, you're always in touch with your clients. You're informing them. You guys, your team's always following up. There's someone on call at any time. So I know that the deal's going to get done. There's not going to be riffraff involved. So I do think that is good in terms of having good rapport with your mates out in the field. I don't take enough time, or I'm not going to take enough time to go to lunches and dinners and these happy hour. I'd rather be home with my 2 kids. But it's so much easier doing a deal with someone that you want to get along with and you have respect for. But as you know, and I know, and we all know in this call, there's a lot of real shitty agents out there. Really, really, really tough. They want to go against the grain on anything and everything out there. It's tough. So I would say we try to kill them with kindness. But if somebody's trying to go against the grain and it's not good for you or your client, you got to stand up and go, listen, this isn't going right. And then lay the data out and then try to get it on record through emails, text, or whatever it is, instead of necessarily document some. There's just a lot of shady stuff that goes on out there. We all complain about it, but we don't do anything about it because that person never gets called out. So I'd say call them out, but I want to get along with everybody. I want to get along with everybody, and I want to close the deal, even if it's got mold and the house is falling in. Hey, I can't control it. You can't control it. Let's find a solution. If the deal doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. Like that's okay. So I think it's good to get along with your peers out in the market, but I just don't go out of my way to go and powwow with all of them. I guess I just don't take the time. I'd rather be out in the woods or on a baseball field, I think. Does that make sense?
That does, and I don't feel so bad now.
Life's busy. I think you have some children, and we work to enjoy our families. Some don't. They want to enjoy other stuff, and I think you find out quickly who they are. They want to be on a boat, and they want to be on social media, toting all their stuff that they did. Well, I think, you know, the suburb people, I think they like to be with their family and be at home. And that's why we work, to be able to spend more time with them and have a life, not show you that I have a new Mercedes Benz and I have a new Porsche Cayenne. There was this agent telling me this the other day that, well, I ordered this Range Rover, I can't get it, so I just bought the Porsche Cayenne, and then my wife's got this other Mercedes G-Wagon, and I don't care. I don't care one bit about any of it. I just want to close this deal and get away from you. Like, it was just really strange that was, he had to tell me about it. And I don't know if he was, I don't know, sizing me up or what. I don't care. I'd rather make money and give to people who are unfortunate than tell somebody about how much I got. Like, it's just different. I think I'm just a little bit different than some of them out there. And I think if you hang around and work with people like you, like-minded, then you're going to have a better, easier business than, that's why we were talking about the city client. The city client's tougher. They're just typically not as warm and inviting and hugging. They're tougher. They're a tougher, and there's agents that are great at it. I know some of them, they're really good at that. It's just not for me.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Tyler, I greatly appreciate you joining. I twisted your arm a little bit at a baseball field to make you do it. But I think we've gotten a lot of knowledge from you today, and Miranda and Lindsay, great questions. Next week is Reagan McKinney. I'm excited about that. You know, again, another perspective. I think that she'll be really good and have a lot to offer. We've had 3 great agents so far, and then you know, Tyler was fantastic today. So I appreciate everybody joining, and I'll see you on the next one. Thank you.
Thanks, Robert.
Bye. Thanks, Tyler.
You're welcome, guys.